Fading future, shattered dreams. End of times ain't what it seems.
Hello friends, it's Sam Chaney reporting for Weaponized News today, February 10th, 2026. Thank you for joining us on this Tuesday edition of Weaponized News. We have a lot to get to as per usual here. We haven't covered it, but we're going to take a look at it today, I guess. It's sucking up a lot of the oxygen in the mainstream out there. This Samantha Guthrie mother kidnapping, Nancy Guthrie kidnapped. We're going to take a look at that. Looks like a psyop, honestly, to me. Even ABC News is questioning it. So we'll take a look at that. What do we got? We're still waiting on Supreme Court ruling on Trump's tariffs. When all of that is going to come down, it's supposed to already come down. I guess we're waiting through the Epstein. We still got a bunch of Epstein reporting to do for you here now. As disgusting, despicable, and evil as it all is, we're going to keep reporting it here, putting it all on the record. Still waiting for somebody in America to maybe, nobody in America is ever going to get in trouble. But maybe we could hold out hope upon hope. Nobody will get in trouble. Trump loves Howard Lutnick, Commerce Secretary. We've exposed him even before Epstein files for all of his criminality. So we'll continue to, he went over there and testified today. Ridiculousness, we'll cover that. You have a foreign diplomatic snafu committed by Mr. Transhuman, Mr. Technocracy, Vice President J.D. Vance. We'll cover that. Just shows you how full of shit they all are. Again. Can't stand behind anything. So, well, we'll cover it. Because old J.D. Vance is over there signing deals in Armenia and Azerbaijan. We're going to cover this ridiculousness. And what else do we got? Well, the SAVE Act is essentially dead. So Republicans hate voter ID just as much as Democrats. There you have it. The government loves rigging elections. Whatever your flavor of corruption is, I'm sure they will gladly pour it down your throat. And a bunch of Epstein, just a lot of Epstein news to get to, more email revelations. So we'll cover all that. A lot of geopolitical news to cover as well. And the genocide in Gaza continues. And Bibi's on his way. He may very well be here in America. Shadow President Benjamin Netanyahu. We should all get down and, bow and do the Wayne's World. We're not worthy for a pure evil genocidal maniac coming in here. Internationally wanted war criminal. And so that is the American way to praise these people, isn't it? Sure is. All of that and much more on this Tuesday edition of Weaponized News. Oh, by the way, we got William Ramsey lined up for next week, next Tuesday. We'll do a deep dive into Epstein, the occult. Keep beating that drum that, they're all in the dark occult, doing these rituals and controlling the world since before Jesus. It's the same outfit, man. The same outfit. And when they have many names, right? But many names, dark occultists, the cult of Baal, all these different spinoffs, the Illuminati, all these different, but it's essentially the same spirit animating these evil bastards. So we'll take a deep dive next Tuesday with author, researcher, interviewer, William Ramsey. Should be a good one. Very good one. He gets deep into the weeds, and you start listening to his shows, you're like, damn, damn, damn. You know what I mean? Just like blows you away. He does a lot of interviews of authors. So we look forward to that next Tuesday here on Weaponized News. Give me that like, share, subscribe, push that notification button as we're here broadcasting to you 5 days a week, cutting through all of this nonsense, trying to make the best out of what we can out of all this insanity and never-ending psyops. And look that way, don't look right at the government. So blame them. I guess my school district, the high school kids at least, did another walkout today to protest for illegal immigration. And so that's going on, I'm sure, around at least California, maybe the rest of the country. I haven't looked into it that much. So we have all this other important news to cover. And we're like on the edge. Are we going to full on war with Iran? That's what we're waiting for here to see. We're going to cover all this, the latest developments, and much more. Let's get to this day in history. On this day of February 10th, going back to the year 1763, we saw the Treaty of Paris ends the French-Indian War. France agrees to surrender Canada to Great Britain. In 1855, on this day, U.S. citizenship law amended. All children of U.S. parents born abroad granted U.S. citizenship. I've been arguing about that one forever. In 1863, on this day, we saw, and don't get mad, arsonists and climate change people out there, but on this day, in 1863, we saw the first U.S. fire extinguisher patent granted to Alanson Crane out of Virginia. And so that got the climate change people all pissed off. In 1883, on this day, we saw fire at uninsured New Hall Hotel in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, killed 71 people. 1883 on this day. 1890 on this day, around 11 million acres ceded to U.S. by Sioux Indians, then opened for settlement. So a couple big land moves, right? France gave Canada to UK, and Indians gave a bunch of land, 11 million acres, to the U.S. federal government, or either that or you know what would happen. And that still happened. In 1897 on this day, the New York Times begins using the slogan, "All the news that's fit to print," and subsequently shilled for the establishment and covered up all of its crimes ever since with its news that's fit to print there out of the failing New York Times. In 1904, on this day, Japan and Russia declare war against each other. In 1915, on this day, they're doing a false flag. They're a quite literal false flag. On this day in 1915, U.S. President Woodrow Wilson protests to Britain on the use of U.S. flags on British merchant ships to deceive the Germans. So Britain was literally running U.S. false flags on their ships, so Germany wouldn't attack them. So quite literally false flags there. 1915 on this day. In 1916 on this day, military conscription begins in Britain for World War I. In 1918, on this day, Leon Trotsky declares that Russia is leaving World War I. Comey said we had enough. In 1933, on this day, Adolf Hitler proclaims end of Marxism. That didn't work out too good, did it, for him? In 1942, on this day, Glenn Miller and his orchestra are awarded the first ever golden record for selling 1 million copies of Chattanooga Choo Choo. I think I remember covering this last year on this day. So there it is again on this day. 1954 on this day, President Dwight D. Eisenhower warns against U.S. intervention in Vietnam. Today, they'd call him a left-wing commie and say he's working for the Viet Cong, right? Sure they would. In 1961, on this day, Niagara Falls hydroelectric project begins producing power. And in 2019, on this day, sexual abuse investigation into U.S. Southern Baptist Church reveals 400 church members implicated with over 700 victims, according to the Houston Chronicle and the San Antonio Express News. So this problem is pervasive throughout society, it appears. It does appear now. And I would say that the top of these churches, the U.S. Southern Baptist churches, are a bunch of Satanists actually posing as a good Christian ministers, support aardvark land or whatever BS they want to, but they're actually Satanists. And so that's where are the Satanists? Where they're running your church, you see. It's how this all works. And with that, let's get to, do we don't have a segue? There's video of this crazy story. I honestly haven't been tracking it because I was like, yeah, really? This TV woman says her mother was kidnapped, and then Trump, so it gets the president's attention, and they make a whole big deal out of it. Feels like a psyop to me, is what I first thought when I heard this story. But let's take a closer look. Here is the FBI just released today new footage from the camera at Nancy Guthrie's front door related to her disappearance. The suspect used plants to block the camera, and it's outsmarted both the local sheriff and the FBI. Kash Patel is now asking the American people for help. Here's our segue to the news and the, is this a psyop? Sure looks like one to me. Nancy Guthrie kidnapping story. No audio there. This is the alleged kidnapper now, with this video being released by the FBI. So you can see there, yeah, using a plant leaf. He picked up some shrubs there, put it over the camera. This guy a fed or what? You know what I'm saying? Here's some more from it. The White House, the president encourages any American across the country with any knowledge of this suspect to please call the FBI, who will cover up. No, who will continue to assist state and local authorities. The prayers of the entire White House are with the Guthrie family. And he's talking about this, these photos released from, I can't look at you straight, and I lie about Epstein, everything about Epstein. Kash Patel, FBI director. Here are the still images of that same video. So we report back to the FBI. It looks like a Fed to me. I don't know. Looks like a Feds. You know what I'm saying? And so here's a press release from the sheriff's department there. Over the last 8 days, the FBI and Pima County Sheriff's Department have been working closely with our private sector partners to continue to recover any images or video footage from Nancy Guthrie's home that may have been lost, corrupted, or inaccessible due to a variety of factors, due to government cover-ups, I don't know, including the removal of recording devices. The video was recovered from residual data located in back-end systems. Working with our partners, as of this morning, law enforcement has uncovered these previously inaccessible new images showing an armed individual appearing to have tampered with the camera at Nancy Guthrie's front door the morning of her disappearance. And if it is real, I hope they, recover her safely. But I'm just saying, these people are so damn shady. I don't trust anything they say, the media or the government at this point, and it just all feels like a psyop to me. But hey, if you do know anything and it is legit, then help find Nancy Guthrie safely. You know what I'm saying? But it's just, they're so dirty and so manipulative and just such bastards. You know what I mean? Yeah, here's what the FBI put out again. Yep, looks like a Fed to me. It's all evidence I needed. There you go. Let's see here. You had people doing analysis, veteran homicide investigator. We don't even need to play the clip, honestly. And he's just saying, he says, veteran homicide investigator Paul Colino says the kidnapping of Nancy Guthrie looks fake, staged, and that the narrative has already collapsed. He questions why there have been no negotiations, no phone calls, and no forensic evidence. He says the FBI has absolutely no evidence. He said, I don't even think she was kidnapped. Yeah, all psyop. It's this guy right here, retired homicide detective, for whatever that's worth. And then we have this report out of NBC News. Even NBC News, they even say, hey, wait a minute. As Nancy Guthrie ransom deadline passes, investigators appear uncertain if it's real. You don't say. What was the ransom? Like $6 million in Bitcoin or something? I think that's what they wanted. And so a little bit more details. Yeah, she's the 84-year-old mother of Savannah Guthrie, this propagandist woman on your television. And seems like she has no problems running giant psyops to distract against all the crimes of the Trump administration here now. And the failure of your free press in America to actually hold anyone accountable in any position of power and do anything other than cover up all of their crimes and corruption. And so it kind of feels like this is part of that, a big distraction out there. Here they are. And again, if it is real, I hope she is, returned safely there. But again, I just have a hard time trusting these lying criminal bastards about anything at this point. That's the way I look at all these big national stories. My mom gets kidnapped. Nobody gives a shit. They're laughing. You know what I mean? But Samantha Guthrie's mother gets allegedly kidnapped, or Savannah Guthrie. She allegedly gets kidnapped, and it's in the world, and you got the president and the FBI on it nationally. You know what I'm saying? So that should raise some red flags, seriously, about if any of this is even real. Anyhow, we wish her safe return. And so my take on it is a psyop distraction. I hope I'm wrong. There's a bunch of reports, a bunch of detectives saying that, hey, yeah, this is all bogus. You know what I'm saying? Okay, on to more out of the White House today. Ready to compete on a national stage? Enter the Presidential 1776 Award Contest and show your knowledge, curiosity, and grit for a chance to win up to $150,000. They can't leave bats alone and they can't leave kids alone. Here they are again. I'll put it out there. Maybe some kid can win it. I don't know. Open to students in grades 9 through 12. Presidential 1776 award.org. Let's put it up there. Maybe the youth can enter and win. I don't know. Feels like it's all staged again, though. Some kind of money laundering payoff on the back end. I'd like to believe that any of this is legitimate, but again, they're just such lying criminals. Is somebody involved in something illegal going to win this as a payoff out the back door? You know what I'm saying? Epstein Zorro Ranch Trust won the freaking New Mexico lottery for $80 million. I think they won it twice. You know what I mean? So money laundering payoff? No, we just care about the curiosity, knowledge, and grit of America's youth. Really? The Presidential 1776 Award. Learn from the past, test your knowledge, track your future. Countdown to test, 10 days. So you got 10 days there. 10 days, America's history, build your future. That's a lot of propaganda right there. So test how well you've been propagandized by the system to believe in their lies. Track your knowledge, build your future there. Yeah, there's like 3 years out since the country's founding. We haven't been at war with somebody in the world, something like this. It's beyond the pale of ridiculous. Building American empire here for the banks, you see. I'm sure they'll leave all of that out. And so how to get started? You sign up, you study, you track, you share, stay updated. Anyhow, maybe worth entering for some youth there in 9th through 12th grade. You got 10 days. What the hell? Try for $150,000. Probably some money laundering, but don't listen to my cynical take on it here now. Okay, back to what's going to happen here. We're still waiting on Supreme Court ruling about Trump's tariffs.
What's right for the country, because now, will I figure something out? But the answer is yes. But it will be it won't be as beautiful as it is right now.
Trump's screwed if the Supreme Court rules his tariffs are unconstitutional. His whole economic agenda will collapse. And the economy of America here will not look good either. So a lot is hinging on this Supreme Court tariffs ruling. Are they constitutional? Trump's clearly weaponized the dollar using sanctions and tariffs as economic weapons around the world. This is a crazy story here. A 23-year-old British woman was shot dead by her father in Texas after they argued about Donald Trump. An inquest has heard. Lucy Harrison from Warrington was staying at his home when he led her into the bedroom and fatally shot her shortly before she was due to fly home. Was it really? It's got to be more going on than that, right? Lucy Harrison shot dead by her father. It's got to be more than that going on there over an argument about Trump. I don't know. Anyway, tragic story there. Here's some satire out of Germany, and I used one of these images for the thumbnail. It is real. It's not AI. This is the pantless Trump with tattoos featured on German carnival floats. Organizers called the Trump float probably the most spectacular. Let's take a look at this video of making fun of Trump over there in Germany. Yeah, we probably won't play the music because it's in German and they'll still say it's copyright. So no music on this one. They have some nice floats over there, but they do get political here now. Did they even show the Trump in this one? We have still images. They didn't even show the Trump in that video, UK Independent. What kind of ripoff is that? Anyhow, here's the still images of the political satire in Germany mocking Trump. Yeah, that's the one we used for the thumbnail here. Ice tattoo on his rear end. And then he's bent over here. And then what is on his rear end? Kiss here, Stallmer, Mertz, FIFA, EU. Indeed, mocking all of them as should be done. As should be done. Okay, so everything's looking bright for the future, right? We got 4 years till the implementation of UN Agenda 2030. The magnetic poles are shifting and all this. That's that one, as that last guest, Jeffrey Ham, was telling us about. So a lot to be optimistic about. Looming threat of, giant regional war in West Asia, possibly a world war. And so there's a lot to look forward to here. American optimism slumps to record low, according to this poll out of Gallup. I don't know why more Americans are not optimistic about the future. Democrats, Hispanic adults report greatest drop since 2024. So yeah, the percentage of U.S. adults who anticipate high quality lives in 5 years declined to 59.2%. So yeah, we're still over 50. So the future's bright. The future is bright here. You got the youth of America protesting for illegal aliens that are low-skilled workers that are going to take their entry-level jobs. And so that the ones that AI are not going to take. So we have, there's a lot to look forward to about the future here in America, you see. So we've gone down, where are we at here? Yeah, 60, yeah, we're still around 60%, 59.2. Anticipate life in 5 years will be better than it is now. The U.S. slips to its lowest ever rank in a global corruption index. And so we do appreciate all of the corruption. And that's a report out of CNN. The United States has fallen to its worst ever position in a leading global index that measures perception of corruption in the public sector among independent experts and business people. The world's most powerful democracy last year slipped one notch to 29th place out of 182 in Transparency International's Corruption Perceptions Index, CPI. That's the lowest rank since 2012, when the index, established in 1995, was relaunched using new methodology. In its new position, the United States tied with the Bahamas. We're way more corrupt than the Bahamas, and was beaten by Lithuania and Barbados and Uruguay. So there you go. We do love our corruption here in America now, don't we? A little bit about the economy. Not looking good for U.S. auto. Ford falls behind China's BYD in global sales for the first time. And so I always remember BYD for being that company, that Chinese company that saved California. Our governor, Gavin Newsom, bought $1 billion worth of these masks, right? Worth the masks that keep you safe from the bats. It literally says right on the box, this will not keep you safe from bats. And they said, take it. We're saving your life. And you're like, no, read the box. And they're like, shut up. You're anti-science. And that's where we're at. And so, but turns out BYD is actually an electric car manufacturer out of China that somehow, some way, ramped up production to save the world, making those paper masks for everybody. So we do appreciate their efforts. Now back to the automobile industry. Ford lost out to BYD in global vehicle sales for the first time last year as the Chinese manufacturer continued its climb up the ranking of the world's largest automakers. So here's a little chart that shows you the sales. Let me blow that up a little bit so we could take a closer look. And you could see Ford cruising along, boop, hit a bump there and got passed by BYD. Not a good economic indicator for America. This is the only public health news I had today. I didn't really even look into it that much, honestly. U.S. is out of the World Health Organization. California state I'm in, they said we're going to go ahead and join up with them. So always keeping public safety at the top of their mind here. FDA refuses to review Moderna's application for mRNA flu miracle, company says. And so, great. Now we all have influenza again, because Moderna was trying to save us. The FDA shot them down. I don't know what we're going to do about this outrage, but here's the report from CNN. The FDA has refused to accept an application from Moderna to review its first mRNA seasonal flu miracle. The company said today, in another setback for technology that's been a target of some Trump administration health officials. Remember the novel technology? Remember all that? It saved the world from the bats, even though the bats are still running around. We don't talk about that anymore, you see. No one's ever been held accountable for all of those wrongdoings during the bat time. The PrEP Act gives them indemnity for all of their wrongdoings that went on there in public and private health, you see. But thankfully, the FDA has refused this latest offering by Moderna. Okay, on to ridiculous Mr. Technocracy, J.D. Vance. He was over there. Well, he's been touring, right? He was at the Winter Olympics first in Italy, getting booed. A lot of people say that's why we're not leading, is because J.D. Vance tanked on the U.S. Olympic team. So he was in Armenia yesterday, signing a, what do they call it? Public use nuke deal, something, not nuclear weapons, right? Like nukes for to produce energy, allegedly, right? Today he's in Azerbaijan, and so he signed the charter on strategic partnership between government of Azerbaijan and America here, and here they are signing it. But a funny thing happened here. Now they are signing it. Not much of the video, just two dudes signing that paper. Anyway, the funny thing about all this that happened, not really funny, embarrassing for America, but when you're fake and gay, like J.D. Vance, then you have no shame and nothing embarrasses you. So JD Vance posted this, later deleted it. He should have stood firm because it is the truth of the matter about what actually happened there. Today, Vice President JD Vance and Second Lady Ursula Vance, Ursha, how do you say her name? Ursha Vance attended a wreath-laying ceremony at the Armenian Genocide Memorial, to honor the victims of the 1915 Armenian Genocide. He deleted that post. What a clown. What a clown. So he deleted this because that was when he was pandering to Armenia and saying, I'm a good Christian and all this other bullshit. Well, it turns out he deleted that post because Azerbaijan was offended by it. And so what a freaking joke of a clown. How offended would you be if you're Armenian there? Oh, well, see, he's finally honoring. They denied it, this, that, and the other for years and years and years. They finally said, okay, they did genocide the Armenians there in 1915. How would you feel? Oh, and the whole time he's saying, I'm a great Christian. I care about Christians in Armenia because they were genocided because of being Christians. So how would you feel? Well, we would love it. In America, we love the corruption, right? As we just went over. The future's bright. We're very optimistic. Not corrupt at all, but actually very corrupt. So it turns out J.D. Vance deleted the post honoring the victims of one of the largest systemic genocides of Christians in history. But he's a good Christian. He told us. Turns out Azerbaijan's Islamic leadership took offense to to that post. And so he deleted it, you see. Standing up for Christians. Standing up for Christians there. So what do you even say to these clowns? They're just fake. They're fake actors, full of shit, lying criminal scum. Can't even leave up a historically accurate post about what happened to Christians in Armenia some 100+ years ago because it offended some Muslims over there. Yeah, that's your Mr. Christian Vice President J.D. Vance, the fakest, even faker than Trump, which is hard to do. So the SAVE Act is apparently dead. So we will have no voter ID, as if that would even matter in these phony elections called democracy here in America. The White House put out this article: voter ID is overwhelmingly popular with literally everyone except Democrat politicians. Well, it was actually Republicans in the Senate that could have steamrolled the whole thing and made it happen, but they bowed down. They bowed down. And so the White House goes on to say here, lobbying to pass the SAVE Act, voter ID, recognized nationally, common sense legislation that requires voters to present photo ID and implements other critical measures to protect federal elections from fraud and abuse. Well, Pew Research, they cite in this article they posted on X, this is the White House, they say Pew Research found that 83% of Americans are in favor of requiring all voters to show ID, including 95% of Republicans and 71% of Democrats. A Gallup poll, 84% support it. CNN report, I think we played that, where they say the bottom line is voter ID is not controversial in this country. And then NBC Nightly News, voter ID rules do have wide public support. It's like a no-brainer, right? Prove who you are and that you're a citizen to vote in our democracy here. Turns out Yeah, the Senate doesn't care. Trump's still lobbying it. We want to get the Safe America Act passed. Turns out, yeah, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen here. Lisa Murkowski, what is she, a Republican, fake Republican out of Alaska senator? She's the first Republican senator to vote against the SAVE Act. And then the Republican leader of the Senate, Leader Thune, throws cold water on filibuster change and push for voter ID. Yeah, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen because they don't have the votes and they're not going to kill the filibuster there in the Senate. Thank you to Republican Senate Majority Leader John Thune out of South Dakota. It's very good of them. And so everybody wants it. Republicans, Democrats, everybody in between, upwards of 80% plus in all the polls. And the Senate says, we think we're not going to do that. So it's looking dead. It's looking dead. GOP hardliners have called for a return to the standing filibuster, which requires Congress members to physically be present and talking on the Senate floor to delay legislation. Senate Majority Leader Thune today dashed a push for Trump and his allies to amend the Senate filibuster rule to speed passing controversial voter identification legislation. It's funny that in the CNBC article, they say controversial. It's really not controversial, but your GOP-controlled Senate has killed it. The Save America Act, which was introduced just last month, would require voters to provide their citizenship to register to vote in federal elections and would require certain forms of photo ID to cast a ballot. The measure is slated for a vote in the House this week, but faces uphill climb in the Senate, where Democrats have vowed to use the filibuster to block the legislation, which they say could disenfranchise millions of Americans because the retards can't figure out how to get an ID, is their argument. Because of the filibuster rule, bills require 60 votes to advance in the Senate. And so it's not going to happen. And Thune says he's not getting rid of the filibuster. So there you go. Save America Act, dead in the water. We love illegals voting. Thank you, GOP-controlled Senate. This character right here, Thundar, Shari Thundar, in broken English, reading the riot act to ICE over there at a congressional hearing. They say that's why I introduced a bill in the U.S. Congress to abolish ICE. ICE must be abolished. In broken English, you get the irony here. It's pretty damn funny.
Okay, I'm not going to speak on behalf of President Trump, but I'll tell you, I signed up for this job to protect America, and I'm very proud of the service that I provide, and I don't need a pardon from anybody.
Well, you better hope so. You better hope you get been pardoned, because you will be held accountable for the absolute disregard of the law your agencies have shown over the past year. Your agencies have lost the trust of the American people, with millions taking to the streets to protect the illegal actions of your agencies. And that's why I introduced a bill in the United States Congress to abolish ICE. ICE must be abolished. I also co-sponsored a bill to impeach Secretary Kristi Noem. And I believe Kristi Noem must be impeached. And this Congress must do everything in its power to carry out oversight actions against.
He says if Democrats win the midterms and take over control, they're going after the feds. Well, have at it. They should abolish the unconstitutional Department of Homeland Security. We should have an independent investigation into 9/11. None of that's going to happen. So they're picking on the low-hanging fruit there of abolish ICE in broken English. That's American way, isn't it? Every violent criminal alien who is not arrested is another gamble with American lives. And so here's some more from the U.S. Immigrations and Customs Enforcement. ICE, right? They say the consequences of not enforcing federal immigration law, terrorists, murderers, rapists, child sex abusers, gang members, and more continue to wreak havoc across America. Well, then why is no one ever getting in trouble that allows this to happen? Our public safety gods, the government, it's all for your public safety, all this tyranny, but yet they're releasing these hardened criminals back onto American streets, according to ICE.
What are the consequences of not enforcing federal immigration laws?
Sir, if you look at what ICE has done, if you look at the amount of, as I said earlier, the amount of known and suspected terrorists that we removed from the country, we arrested 1,477 this year and removed 1,480. Just that impact alone, along with the 7,800 gang members, makes a significant impact on public safety.
So 1,000 something potential terrorists, bullshit. They're not doing mass deportations. They've totally failed. They've totally failed. But we do have they are building giant surveillance state and FEMA camps all over the place, migrant detention centers. So we do get that. Here's the old 33s again. Over the past year, USCIS has made nearly 33,000 fraud referrals to law enforcement, a 138% increase over previous years. So they've been fraud upon fraud. Pay your taxes this tax season. 100, or what do they say, 33,000?
Over the past year, USCIS has made nearly 33,000 fraud referrals to...
There you go. We wanted to get that 33 going. So that was your 33. ICE is expanding across the U.S. at breakneck speed. And so, yeah, dozens of these locations. ICE plans to lease offices throughout the U.S. as part of a secret months-long expansion campaign. You got 3 years left here. Maybe, 8 months until November. Democrats say you're all going to jail, Republicans. I don't know, but they're building giant FEMA camps, migrant detention centers, and still not carrying out mass deportations. What could they be building all these FEMA camps for? You and I, dare I say, political dissenters? So documents show that more than 150 leases and office expansions have or would place new facilities in nearly every state, many of them in or just outside of the country's largest metropolitan areas. In many cases, these facilities, which are to be used by street-level agents and ICE attorneys, are located near elementary schools, medical offices, places of worship, and other sensitive locations. My concern is not that. My concern is these are not for illegals. These are for us, is my real concern here. And we could deal with the sensitive locations later, honestly, at this point. Since Trump took office, the second time around, ICE has more than doubled in size. DHS claims the agency now has 22,000 officers and agents stationed around the country and is still in the process of hiring more. The agency received nearly $80 billion in funding as part of Trump's One Big Beautiful Bill Act, giving it virtually unlimited resources to combat what the administration has consistently portrayed as an invasion. And yet there's no mass deportations going on here. And so they just go through in this article out of Wired magazine listing a bunch of these different sites ready to come online. Let's see, according to the documents reviewed by Wired magazine, 19 projects have been awarded in cities around the United States, including Nashville, Dallas, Sacramento, Tampa. Multiple projects were days away from being awarded in Miami, Pittsburgh, New Orleans, among others, and emergency requests for short-term space has been made in 8 cities, including Atlanta, Baltimore, Boston, and Newark, New Jersey, to name a few. So yeah, they got a bunch of money. Start doing the mass deportations. We're waiting. We're waiting. We're waiting. We're waiting. And why wasn't this done day one? Oh, because they were busy on day one putting in Doge to implement technocracy in the federal government. Oh, that's why they weren't doing this day one to do the mass deportations that we were promised, which have never materialized. More illegal, according to the Department of Homeland Security, more illegal aliens have self-deported than have been deported by the actual Department of Homeland Security. ICE, pick your spin off of them. Border Patrol, ICE, whatever, the feds, right? So there we are. An excuse to build FEMA camps all over the country. And we're still not seeing mass deportations being carried out. ICE is arresting people who harass agents by following them in their cars for impeding law enforcement, adding their names and photos to a government database, according to a Reuters report. But today, the ICE head guy there, was his name Lyons? He said he says there is no federal database of U.S. citizens. Do you trust the government? I sure in the hell don't. You better believe that. And you shouldn't be impeding federal law enforcement when they're going about their immigration enforcement duties. But you better believe you're in a freaking federal database. And you're in one and not. We're in one for doing this show, calling them out on all their freaking lies, for God's sake. If you're not in a federal database, what are you doing with your life, honestly, at this point? Okay, where are we at here? We're almost at the top of the hour. What does Denver say? Denver jumped in here. 33, Ruckus. There you go. There you go. That's kind of a signal. It feels like that, yeah, nothing's going to happen. We're all in on the scam, right? Is the calms, as the kids say, with this 33 nonsense, never-ending nonsense. Okay, what does Denver say here? Silver first says every Australian PM of the last 40 years named in the iTouch children files. Damn. I don't even know what the iTouch children files are, but, or that's just probably I don't know, but yeah, not surprising. Probably every American too, but they're just not named there because we love corruption here in America and have a hard time getting out from under it. What does Denver say? Of course, conservative radio is running with the audio of the broken English Congress calling to abolish ICE. It's all theater of Zog, indeed. Of the Zog Alliance, indeed. It took ICE and Homeland Security to destroy our borders and allow such unmitigated immigration, indeed. And the large majority still work for the feds, so it's your same feds. Different puppets, different narratives, same feds. So there you go. This is my prime multitasking time, which I usually don't comment as much. Well, thank you for your comments. 33 Ruckus. Shout out to the calms on the internet for all the 33s. Okay, what do we got? The sickening Epstein reports here. I don't know. Let's take a little bit of look at it. Here's from ZBS News. Barry Weiss, right? Her outfit, the Free Press. I guess it's not ZBS, but it's essentially ZBS. The Free Press. They say they went through all this. Watch the Epstein tapes. There are 14 hours of video buried deep inside the DOJ's latest Epstein file releases. We watched all of them. Now you can too. I'd be careful of this stuff. It's CP, right? A bunch of the stuff's CP. I don't even want any of this shit on my computer. I'm definitely not downloading these on my computer, any of this data. But I'll put the link up. Here's the, you guys are free to go look, maybe through ZBS News or the Free Press here. It's a buffer, you know what I mean? But anyway, they're putting it out there. I'm reporting to you. It's out there. They've got 14 hours of video. The link will be at Weaponized News Substack for those interested that can stomach it. We do have a couple videos here, but all blacked out. I don't even know if I'll play them. You get the gist of it by the description, I think. So yeah, a whole lot. The material release was divided into 12 batches or data sets, roughly 400 videos live in a folder called Dataset 8, which contains prison closed circuit television footage, including hallway cameras and angles from inside Epstein's cell. It goes on. A lot of sorted, very sordid, disturbing videos there. Epstein's dark world gives us a glimpse into Epstein's dark world, they say. And so there you have it. Indeed. We'll show you this one again today. So yeah, this is exactly what was going on there. Epstein installed secret cameras with the help of handy Russians. And so they're trying to still, well, we showed, I think I reported this yesterday, but yeah. And then in this UK Telegraph article, they show, yeah, there's a bunch of surveillance all over the places. And yeah, a bed set up right there to do the deeds. And all these, oh yeah, that's just birds, right? No, this is all the blackmail material right here. Dozens of photographs and floppy disks, CDs, and photo albums were published in the first tranche of Epstein files. Yeah, the government, the feds have it all. The feds have it all, you see. Variety magazine. After Jeffrey Epstein returned from jail in 2009, he worked with New York socialite Peggy Segal to re-enter high society. We reported a little bit on this, but here's the Variety magazine report. They go on to say Segal organized private dinners at his Upper East Side mansion with media and Hollywood figures, including Charlie Rose, Woody Allen, and Sun-Yi Privan, George Stephanopoulos, and Katie Couric. I'm surprised old Savannah Guthrie wasn't there. Just kidding. Email show request for Siegel to arrange coffee meetings between Epstein, Anne Hathaway, and Bill Gates. Epstein and Siegel went back and forth about what kind of private jet might entice Hathaway, Hugh Jackman, and Jessica Chastain to fly with him to the 2013 Oscars. Neither the coffee nor the private flight ever took place. Segal pushed for Epstein to attend a flurry of screenings and events, including the Gotham Awards, which he supported with a $10,000 donation. Epstein confirmed he would bring 2 girls there. And so here you are, old Siegel there. New York socialite Peggy Siegel. She should be shamed out of society here now. Probably given a bunch of money and awards for her efforts to rehabilitate Epstein reputation, probably along with old Steve Bannon, right? Mr. America. Turns out all that was a lie as well, sold to us by Steve Bannon. He's still out there pushing it, saying America first. No, you're a criminal, Steve Bannon, and you're full of shit. Along with Peggy Siegel and Jeffrey Epstein, all the same ilk, just disgusting criminals. Howard Lutnick's sister, Edie Lutnick, is a founding member of the Terramar Project. We covered that a little bit yesterday, right? And that's a spinoff from the Clinton Foundation, the thing that Ghislaine Maxwell was doing. Oh, you don't say. And so they're all tied up together. And of course, it's because they care about the children. They care about money laundering, blackmail, and fulfilling their bloodlust to carry out these dark occultic rituals, eating babies, drinking their blood, and so on and so forth, and torture, and on it goes. We're at the hour mark, so we're going to take our live commercial break here. Everybody go to weaponizednews.com. We have quite a few viewers today. Shout out to all the viewers on the Rumble. Thank you, everybody, and the YouTube. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in there. Go to weaponizednews.com. We have a sticker, the holograph sticker, the white background sticker, and the clear sticker. Of course, you'll get a new one. You can see it's clear. It's tore up old demo model. Put it on your laptop, your bumper, your guitar, your work locker, your hard hat. Help spread the word about independent reporting and analysis brought to you here 5 days a week. Weaponized News, weaponizednews.com. Get yourself a sticker. We've got baseball caps. We've got Weaponized News shirts, long sleeve, short sleeve, woman's cut over there at the store. We've got coffee mugs, bunch of customized t-shirts. Go over there and take a look. It's much appreciated. And also, if you don't want to patron the store, give us a donation. We take donations. Buy me a coffee, Cash App in the description below this video. Bitcoin wallet address for whatever that's worth in the description below this video. Give me the like, share, subscribe, push that notification button. All that's free. Thank you very much. Okay, here's a video. Maybe most of you have seen this. I've seen it before, but it's worth a replay here now. Flashback when we're talking about rehabilitating Jeffrey Epstein's public image. Well, they put out a nice piece here from, everybody remember VH1? Well, VH1 did a piece about the fabulous life of billionaire Wall Street ballers gushing over Jeffrey Epstein. It aired in 2017. Let's take a look at this. If you haven't seen it, try not to throw up, but a glowing review of Jeffrey Epstein, 2017, VH1. Let's take a look at this flashback. And we have a whole lot more Epstein reporting for you. Oh, yeah. Isn't it also wonderful? Now, how does this hit now? Makes you want to throw up, right? Truly disgusting. Truly disgusting. What experiments were they doing there with his world-class scientist friends? He's helped corrupt science here now. Really censored into nothing on the X. I can't even, right now during playing that video, I was going to share the live stream. I don't even have a live, like it says I'm live streaming. I can't even find it on the X. So we're literally censored into nothing on X. So we need you to give us that share, please. Here's something more of the cult, right? More of the Illuminati death cult is what I'll call it, because that's the easiest to get out there. But all part of the same cult here. Here's another flashback video of Peter Nygaard, Jeffrey Epstein associate, attempting to purchase babies from black women so he can drain their blood. He says, I'll buy $60,000 worth of eggs, umbilical cord, and placenta. Even your period blood is so rich with stem cells. And then we have, who was that? A-Dub was saying, scumbag egg dick Epstein. Isn't that what the women, the victims that saw their egg dicks, right? That we had said the same kind of testimony about Weinstein as well, and there's rumors that Trump has an egg dick as well. So they all have these. They always seem to have these masculinity problems as well, as per testimony from victims that were forced to endure their torture. Here's Peter Nygaard talking about the transhumanism and life extension technologies. They're going after the holy grail to live forever is the transhumanist dream here now. And of course, for these dark occultists who don't want to face judgment for all the evil they've done, they want to stay on this plane of existence for as long as they possibly can.
Called SCNT, which takes the egg of a young, perfect woman specimen, takes the egg and takes out the nucleus and puts our DNA in the nucleus. They just go in and take it out. Huh? And this is part of this genetic greatness that we don't see in any other race on the planet. These curvy, sexy black women from Africa. You girls have a kind of a monopoly on this genetic perfection, and we want some of that. So, girls, for $100, we will pay you for your egg.
$100?
So how much do you want for it? Let's bid. I bid $500. Wherever I bid, he's going to outbid me. I bought about $60,000 of the eggs. Yeah. If you have abortion, that's very valuable. Umbilical cord, placenta, your period blood is so rich with stem cells. We regard it as waste, and it actually should be. It should be captured as recycled, and it should go to waste. It's life for somebody else. And it's life for mankind. The best eggs are 16 to 18 years old. Those are the best eggs. As you get older, your eggs get weaker and weaker.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
So you may not be our top candidate.
No, that's fine. I think that was my business.
So that's what they're all doing, is these transhumanist experiments. Let's see, remember we've played Ted Gunderson, long documentaries on this show before, but here's a clip of Ted Gunderson. He was exposing this stuff way back in the day. He was head of LA FBI. Here he is on Geraldo talking about human sacrifice cults back in the day.
These things, they sound like they can't be happening. Ted Gunderson, respected law enforcement professional, recently or retired now from the FBI, former regional director of Los Angeles. Do you, sir, believe that these dreadful allegations of babies being sacrificed are true?
I absolutely believe it, without any doubt. Based on the information that's been given to me across the country by numerous survivors and by confidential sources and informants.
Why don't you name these people and arrest them? Never a name, never an arrest. These women come out of a group and they insist that they know the people in the group, and yet they do not identify these large mysterious cults. Name them and arrest them and get them off the street.
Does he not make a valid point?
He makes a valid point. The problem with that is, number one, police officers don't believe it. I may believe it. You may believe it. Some people in your audience may believe it. They don't believe it. Number two, if you decide to investigate these people, you have to, number one, handle it from an undercover operation. If you put an undercover operation into effect, then you have, in a sense, your own police officers become involved in these heinous crimes, and they are, of course, become murderers. And in addition to that, if you do decide to investigate these people, there's a lot of work. And many law enforcement officers are apathetic and don't want to get involved.
Ladies and gentlemen, you have heard this.
It's too much work for them to do their job and stop crime and stop the most horrendous crimes going on there. Back the blue, brah. This post from William Ramsey, again, we'll have him on next Tuesday. He says, Epstein to Bannon, 3 abjective evil. Let's take a look at this post. Trying to rehab Epstein's image here after he was convicted of child sex trafficking. They're out of Florida. Bannon sends Epstein this link. Steve Bannon trying to get a disgraced Jeffrey Epstein get on his good side. Epstein, I don't know. I didn't know I had a good side. Who said you had a good side? I'm now a 3 objective, evil, disgraced, reviled, and a pedophile. As long as they don't call me fat, I'm fine. And then Bannon says, and donor to Democrats. So even with all this evil going on, still got to throw in that left-right paradigm, don't we? Because they know that's key in the mind control program here. Keep us fighting about Republicans, Democrats, and you never wise up and say it's the damn government. Nancy Mace put out this post. And of course, we care. Really? Redacting names from child sex trafficking files doesn't protect victims. It protects the people who hurt them. Why is the government choosing to protect predators instead of prosecuting them? Serious question. Really, if you don't know Nancy Mace, then you're too dizzy to be a congresswoman. But she did put out this meme of the world's doctor, Bill Gates there, right? And Epstein and old William. What they say too there in the comments, they say that that they had to get hair and bones for a diamond machine at Epstein Island. That's what A-Dub said. I hadn't heard that one. Nothing would surprise me with these maniacs. Whitney Webb, right? She's the one. She wrote, what, 2 books all about Nation of Blackmail, right? Exposing all this in great depth and great detail. And she's not saying a whole much right now. But I went and looked. Is she posting anything? No, she hasn't posted anything, any interviews since December. So Whitney Webb is laying low about all. I guess she already did her work. She exposed all of this in her books, right? But I found this post interesting that she made. Well, this is back July 11, 2024. Whitney Webb said, your reminder that Jeffrey Epstein's main patron, Leslie Wexner, actually told New York Magazine in the 1980s that he is demonically possessed. So many of our oligarchs are completely insane. Are they insane? And then she links to that interview right there. Again, the links to all this stuff will be at Weaponized News, Substack, for further investigations. And what did I miss on this one? Oh yeah, the DOJ docs the victims, and they're still redacting the actual perpetrators, as Nancy Mace says there. And so all of that's gone on because we care about the victims, let me tell you. FBI made a 21-slide Epstein PowerPoint while DOJ said no list existed. Crazy thing is that the FBI was putting together a whole slideshow with tips on Trump, Clinton, Prince Andrew, and Leon Black, I believe, while DOJ kept saying that there's nothing there. Then Bondi told Trump his name was in the files, and suddenly everyone stopped talking about releasing anything. That's a report out of CNN. Yeah, so the Fed's covering up for the Feds. Shocking, I know. But America has no shame. At least in Europe, they act like they have some shame, like they're ashamed, and this is wrongdoing, and we're getting justice for the public and the victims. America, they're like, huh? Like, throw another kid to the, Europe is investigating Epstein. America is pretending it didn't happen. Well, at least our government is. Britain, in UK, Big Brother Britain there, Stallmer under fire for appointing Mandelson, King Charles, cooperating with police on Andrew. They're in full meltdown mode. Norway, France, Poland are reopening investigations, dragging names back into the light. America, where most of this actually happened, no FBI press conferences, no high-profile arrest. No one in America of any significance has been held accountable for any of this. We played this yesterday, but it's worth replaying again. Here, show you what a criminal, con man, liar Trump is. Remember, lock her up, lock her up. Remember the Podesta email. The WikiLeaks that exposed all of this through the Podesta emails, it's the same global cult, you see. Different little factions here and there, the same global cult. Anyhow, all that was exposed. That in large part won Trump the 2016 election, because still, even at that time, he's just so cringe, right? So cringe. But that pushed him over the top to win the Podesta email and lock her up. And he said, remember the debate? I don't have the clip, but he said, yeah, I'd lock you up if I was president, told Hillary, right? Turns out they're like 6 cousins. All that's bullshit, a con job. Trump's a lying criminal part of this cult. But here it is again. The guy who nicknamed Crooked Hillary's husband, and now he's sympathetic again. And so this is very concerning. And, well, it shows you the con job and lying of Trump, because they're all in the same cult.
They asked me a question yesterday at the press conference about Clinton because of the testimony, the Epstein thing, which turned out that I have nothing to do, and they did, about Epstein. And they said, do you think it's terrible what, with the subpoenas and everything, and they're disobeying the subpoenas? And I actually said, it's a shame. You have an ex-president, and you have, the president's wife and Secretary of State. And I said, it's a shame. It is a shame.
NBC News broke the story today. I don't know if you saw it, that the Democrats are already saying, if you bring President Bill Clinton and he has to testify, we're bringing President Trump. What do you say to that?
I think they might say that, but they've already brought me. See, I've been brought. They had me indicted many, many times. Many, many times. They didn't do that to Clinton.
Do you think if the Democrats win in the midterms, at least one house of Congress, they're going to try to impeach you?
Well, I've done a great job as president. They say I've had the best first year of any president in history, and I think I have. If you look, I settled 8 wars, biggest tax cuts ever. Right now, we have more under construction with the factories, the car plant. They're all moving back into the country. They were stolen from us over a 40-year period. They're all coming back from Germany, from Canada, from Mexico, from Japan.
They say, who's they? It's Trump saying that it's the greatest first year of presidency ever, the biggest con job on America ever. Here now, starting with Doge and ending the year with no mass deportations and never-ending lies about how great the economy is. It ain't great, Jack. It ain't great. Here's some more from CNN. CNN, well, let's watch this clip. Who is this? This is Representative James Walkinshaw. He reviewed the redacted Epstein files because Congress, our lawmakers, are allowed to see the redacted files on, what do they say, on 4 computers in a satellite office, and you get a flashlight. Maybe it's just like so ridiculous. But he went on to say he viewed the redacted files and found an email from Epstein's attorneys describing a 2009 conversation with Donald Trump, which contained no mention of victims and was explicitly withheld from the public. There were many other inexplicable redactions, he said. This guy, do we even need to hear him? So, yeah. Because remember, MAGA went for, they've been, and they're still going with, well, and the new one they floated out there, the new site, well, there was a report that Trump, as soon as he learned, he called the police. Really? That's why he called it. Why did he call the police back in whenever it was, 2016 or what? I forget the exact year. But why did he call the police if it's all Democrat hoax, which he's told us now? It's all fake, nothing to see there. But yet now their stories don't jive. And I'm not buying that, oh, as soon as Trump learned of Epstein's nefarious activity, he turned him into the FBI. Bullshit. That's this massaging of the public image. And so Trump's well aware, being a actor and TV personality and public personality for the last 40 years in this country, he's well aware of your public image and how it needs to be shaped for the public mind, you see. And so I'm calling all of that bullshit. Trump's part of it. Epstein exploited media and search engine optimization to bury his sex offender past through personal contacts, search manipulation, and a facade of philanthropy. He tried to shape a different public image for himself. The released files expose troublingly close ties to journalists and editors. No media in the world could change what's been done now. That's a report out of Semaphore. Yeah. Bannon and Epstein were plotting to buy a media outlet in 2018. I think we reported that one yesterday. The White House says it will stand with Howard Lutnick. Here it is. So Trump loves Lutnick. Another side note on Lutnick, he's doing all these side backroom dealings through Tether. He's set to make a bunch of money on fees through Tether as the stable coin being rolled out here now.
Secretary Lutnick today was testifying on the Hill, and he said that he had visited Epstein's Island in 2012 with his wife and children, and that's after he said that he had cut ties with Epstein, and Justice Department documents show that he was in contact with Epstein through 2018 over messages. So does the White House stand behind Secretary Lutnick right now, or given what he has said today, has there been any shift in how the White House is viewing Secretary Lutnick's performance?
No, Secretary Lutnick remains a very important member of President Trump's team, and the president fully supports the secretary.
Like, dude took his family to a baby eating party on Epstein Island, and they're like, we fully support it. Epstein files about to go raw, and the redactions look shady. Congress is finally getting into the unredacted files, and early looks say the blackout job is way off. Ratskin, we played him yesterday. He's a very suspect character. But on this front, he called a bunch of the redactions baffling, and some of the buried emails are seriously disturbing stuff about littlest girl candidates, Lolita, people scouting women by age and type, all sitting under heavy black ink. Well, DOJ claims it only hid the victims. They doxed the victims. That's a report out of CNN here. And so they dox the victims, then say we care so freaking much about the victims, and that's why we have to cover up the perpetrators, because we care. Here's Ro Khanna. Of course, him and Massey got the Epstein Transparency Act signed by Trump. So Ro Khanna, well, let's hear from him. Is it this one or another one? I think we have him on. Well, here he is on the House floor today. He says that there were 6 wealthy, powerful men that the DOJ hid for no apparent reason. Well, I think we know damn well what the reason is, because they're all part of the cult.
Yesterday, Congressman Massey and I went to the Department of Justice to read the unredacted Epstein files. We spent about 2 hours there, and we learned that 70 to 80% of the files are still redacted. In fact, there were 6 wealthy, powerful men that the DOJ hid for no apparent reason. When Congressman Massey and I pointed this out to the Department of Justice, they acknowledged their mistake, and now they have revealed the identity of these 6 powerful men. These men are Salvatore Navora, Zorab Mikoladze, Leopig Leonor, Nicola Caputa, Sultan Ahmed bin Sulayem, CEO of Dubai Ports World, and billionaire businessman Leslie Wexner, who was labeled as a co-conspirator by the FBI. Now, my question is, why did it take Thomas Massey and me going to the Justice Department to get these 6 men's identities to become public?
He just named the big 6 right there. Yeah, really, we're still asking why? Well, we know why they're Mr. Ro Khanna. I believe you know why as well. He just named 6. He just named 6. Thomas Massey says the DOJ unredacted Les Wexner's name from a Epstein document only after he questioned why a well-known retired CEO, former CEO of Victoria's Secrets, was blacked out while still labeled as a co-conspirator. Kind of a good question. Oh, co-conspirator? They're like, nah. Lutnick, old Ted. See, there's no good guys in this. The government is corrupt at its core. We're measuring, are they eating babies, or are they just this level of corruption, stealing everything you got? You know what I mean? Like, so I guess the guys stealing everything you got and never ending lying to you, they're better than the guys eating babies, is the scale that we're at on the level of corruption here in the U.S. government. So Ted Lieu out of California, he's pretty shady with his connections too. What the hell? I can't even remember the guy's name. Ed Buck, out of a big Democrat donor that overdosed a black kid on methamphetamines while having gay sex, right? Him and old Peter Schiff, or not Peter Schiff, the damn Schiff, pencil neck Schiff, out of another. Now he's Adam Schiff, California senator. Thank you, producer. So anyhow, they're all scumbags too. But now he's calling Lutnick must resign. The Epstein files new releases show that not only did Howard Lutnick lie to the American people, he went into business with Epstein. He visited Epstein Island, and Lutnick did this knowing how evil Epstein was. But could it have been that bad? He took his family there. Howard Lutnick has absolutely no shame in taking his children to Epstein Island. See, literally no shame here in America. Europe's like, hey, wait a minute, I think this may be wrong. America's like, nope.
People about your interactions with Epstein? Did you have any financial involvement with Jeffrey Epstein? Why did you keep contact with Jeffrey Epstein after he pled guilty to sex crimes?
Come on, give us some space. Give us some space.
What do you say to the Democrats calling on for you to resign?
Give us some space.
Mr. Epstein, people of your level in the British government have been forced to resign. Will you resign?
Give us some space. Give us some space.
Why did you keep contact with Jeffrey Epstein after he pled guilty?
I look forward to testifying today.
Did you mischaracterize your relationship with him?
Some space.
Why did you say you found him gross but still kept in contact with him?
What do you say to those who are calling for you to resign now?
Are you willing to speak to Congress about this?
So the big deal about Lutnick is his role as Commerce Secretary and at Cantor Fitzgerald, and not really so much this Epstein stuff. I mean, it speaks to who he is, but we should be more concerned about what he's doing with Tether. Here's some from that testimony today.
In his apartment, said you were disgusted, would never have any contact with him again. Did you in fact make the visit to Jeffrey Epstein's private island?
I did have lunch with him as I was on a boat going across on a family vacation. My wife was with me, as were my 4 children and nannies. I had another couple they were there as well with their children, and we had lunch on the island. That is true, for an hour, and we left with all of my children, with my nannies and my wife, all together. We were on family vacation. We were not apart. To suggest there was anything untoward.
Lutnick went on family vacation to Epstein Island, and as Denver said, yeah, dude let everybody in his firm, or those that didn't get the message, all perish at Cantor Fitzgerald in the Twin Towers on 9/11. Indeed. Massey reveals the Emirate businessman Sultan Ahmed bin Suleiman has been identified as the recipient of a 2009 email from Epstein that referenced a torture video. And so here's that email. I think we covered this one. There's so many. I'm losing track at this point, but here it is. And we have more about this character. Anyhow, I'm in China. I will be in the U.S. second week of May. Where are you? Are you okay? I love the torture video, like just casual conversation. Oh, yeah, I love that torture video. Like, what? Here is this character. Anyhow, so his name was revealed on the house floor there by Rokana, as we just played for you. But here he is. He is the CEO of DP World, one of the world's largest logistic companies, headquarters in Dubai. He maintained extensive back channel ties with Aardvark Land Security and business figures, where Jeffrey Epstein acted as an intermediary. Were you okay? Are you okay? I love the torture video, right? Here's this character.
Anything you say the government, because the government is the one who never helped. They never helped. They told us you are not a UK company. You are not. You don't qualify to be helped. The decision that was made, in my opinion, was the least hurting. All the people who have basically lost their jobs have been given very good compensation. They all accepted the compensation. They all signed except one.
So that's just to give you a look at this character. Also in the Epstein files, 2 men talking about a bionic penis surgery for a sultan. Sultan wants to replace bionic dick with new Swiss version. Wants different surgeon. You're joking, I hope. Nope. Goyim. Here it is. There you go. Denver says in the comments there his house he got from Wexner, and Epstein is next door neighbor. And he took his family to the island. So, oh man, isn't it good to have such an evil commerce secretary here now, looking out for the U.S. dollar and American economy? No, he's looking to steal as much as he possibly can. He'll probably get away with it with the help of Trump here now. That's your Commerce Secretary, Howard Lutnick. This is a weird one because they mock everything, right? The dark occultists mock everything that's not part of them. And so Epstein arranged to have pieces of a kiswa, the sacred cloth covering the Kaaba in Mecca, shipped to his Florida home in 2017. The businesswoman who arranged it told him one piece had been touched by minimum 10 million Muslims who keep their prayers, wishes, tears, and hopes in this piece. Epstein put it in his house and literally mocking, you see, mocking. Mocking those Muslims. Buried in the Epstein files, you can find a document EFTA 001-43287. It's a series of desperate, all caps emails, yelling, right, from a woman who identifies herself as a survivor. She's writing to UK and US officials, including what appears to be Keir Starmer, begging for accountability. She claims to have submitted evidence for over a year with zero response. 200 girls are going to have to testify. She says her emails were being read, but she was blocked, and warns every official who ignored her will be called to the stand. I doubt that, but good effort there. And so here it is, heavily redacted, of course, to protect the victims. I guess the victims are now actually the perpetrators in our inversion of reality here, our satanic inversion of reality. The perpetrators are now the victims. UAE diplomat offered her 13-year-old sister to Epstein. She's even prettier than me. Reported on this character yesterday. It was her. Hind Alois offered a 13-year-old sister to Epstein. Yeah, she's apparently the UAE doesn't have much of a problem with this as well. We're learning. Only the aardvarks raised a warning about Maxwell Epstein targeting teenage girls. February 2020, someone forwarded internal emails about Epstein operation. Aardvark intelligence literally told U.S. authorities a pedophile was trafficking kids through Aardvark land. America's response, nothing. Why? high up someone was protecting the trafficking operation. There you go. It was even too evil for aardvarks. Imagine that. Imagine that. But not too evil for the feds here in America. Because nothing's too evil for the feds here in America. Here's Epstein's niece, Anna Wick, talks about the cult of Baal. Let's watch this short clip.
I am Jeff Epstein's niece. My father and stepmother had a baby girl in 1991 who was raised by another family. In 1998, they assigned me her birth date on my birth certificate, which they waited 10 years to file, claiming my stepmother was my biological mother. And finally put me in school in the gifted program. You know, my parents were upstanding citizens. My father was a divorce attorney. It goes back for generations. I remember my father confessing that my oldest brother is 8 years younger than him. They told me that we belonged to the cult of Baal. My great-grandfather, according to my father, was Walt Disney. Before he moved to the United States, his name was Artur Bick, and his twin sister, who he had children with, who I am descended from, was named Minnie. That's where we get Mickey and Minnie Mouse. It's very cute, right? Except for when you consider the abuse that I suspect is still happening to children who go into the entertainment industry.
There's more here. Satanic ritual abuse survivor Max Lowen says she witnessed children being used as party favors, hunted down in the woods by elites. They do eat human flesh. They do drink human blood. Here she explains some of these rituals she was witness to.
Some of the rituals, it's called SRA. I don't want to say the actual words. Involved taking me out to different parties. Some were in very beautiful mansions, so they would be kind of black tie balls, if you ever saw Eyes Wide Shut, that kind of thing, except what they didn't show in the movie is the children that were brought in as party favors. Sometimes they would be on grounds at these different beautiful mansions where there were woods, and they were hunting parties, so we would be dressed up in certain costumes or naked or something and sent to hide and then be hunted. There would always be a child or maybe more than one unalived at the end of this. And actually, these people, I have seen cooked babies brought out on platters. They do eat human flesh. They do drink human blood. And sometimes the rituals would also be outdoors. So there would be like a gang violation ritual with a bonfire, where I was drugged so that I was fully conscious but couldn't move my body at all, even my mouth. I couldn't even scream.
We played other clips of her. Okay, let's see, where are we at here? We're running out of time. There's still a lot more. Let's see here. Epstein documents saw an FBI agent deliberately remove a hard drive from the jail's video recording system, resulting in the loss of all surveillance footage during Epstein's death at the jail. It's an honest mistake, right? No, all this is a cover-up, obviously, because Epstein didn't kill himself. Congressman says redacted part of Epstein files suggests Trump never banned Epstein from Mar-a-Lago. That's Jamie Raskin again, for whatever that's worth. He may be telling the truth on this front just to get Trump. If this what gets Trump, then hey, more power to him. Because that never really sat right with me. The old as soon as Trump found out, he reported to authorities immediately. Bullshit. Someone's asking Epstein how the Hadid sisters got famous. December 2015. How did they become models and make so much money? Epstein, the father, paid the agency. Because when a pedophile explains how young girls broke into modeling, pay the agency, it's different. Kind of does. Kind of does. Here's that email. Here's that email. And then here are the models there. How'd they become models? Paid the agency? How'd they break into the industry? More about it here. In a 2015 email exchange, Epstein responds to the question about how we explained that in this email. The thread includes references to agencies being paid, sex acts, and dismissive comments about young women in the industry, all written casually in private correspondence. You can see right here. Do you remember the name of the gynecologist they used to send victims to? Another email, redacted, of course, Ismo. Whoever Ismo is. Yes, many years ago, you used to send them to a gynecologist in New York who once commented something to the effect that you were keeping him in business single-handedly. Do you remember the name of the gynecologist that you used to send your victims to? Blacked out name there about who Epstein is emailing. They're protecting the perpetrators. Here's one of the survivors, Sarah Ransom, says Ghislaine Maxwell had no remorse, has no soul, and is a dangerous human being. Is she even human? I don't know.
She had no remorse in her voice. Gillian has no soul. And you know yourself what I've been through trying to take her down. And the reason why I've had to go through that is because she's a dangerous human being. She will reoffend, and reoffend. These people never stop, ever.
No, they're not going to ever stop because they're serving the agenda of the cult. Epstein's sex trafficking, his jerky supply. Jeffrey Epstein said he was going to start eating regular food again, so he might be eating less jerky. He has 6 bags in downstairs freezers for his next trip. Is the jerky they're talking about strips of kid flesh turned into beef jerky? It's starting to look like that. It's starting to look like that. I just wanted to touch base about jerky. J.E. said he was going to start eating regular food again. Here's the email. Let me put that up there for you. Starting regular food again, so he might be eating less jerky. That said, he has 6 bags of it in his downstairs freezer for his next trip. I believe it should be enough to get him through. Any questions, please let me know. who's that emailed to about the jerky. What's going on here? Well, at least they're protecting the perpetrators. DOJ files contain video of Epstein groping a girl, showing her off for the camera as if presenting her to be sold, to be trafficked. We won't even play that clip for you. It's blacked out here, but another video from the files, a few months old infant baby. You can't see it very good, but you can make out, well, we'll just show you this. And so it's all blacked out, obviously, there. But yeah, babies in the videos of them. They're in the files. Epstein's former butler, Alfred Rodriguez, saw a very young girl, naked girl, on the computer. When asked how young, 16, 17 teenagers, they have braces, most of them. Younger than that, yeah. Terrified Epstein might make him disappear, Rodriguez tried to sell his black book as insurance. After being caught selling it to an undercover Fed, he got 18 months in prison and died of mesothelioma shortly after being released. A lot of truth has died with witnesses. Who's going to be left to tell? And so here's video of him with that Fed busting him. So he gets 18 months for trying to sell the black book. And the Feds are protecting the perpetrators still. UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer refuses to resign over Epstein scandal. His chief of staff resigned, and other dude, Mendelsohn, resigned, right? But he's hanging tough as a good Fabian socialist. Prince of Wales, he's asked questions while in Saudi Arabia, ignored it about Epstein. He just ignored it. MP says British girls are still being trafficked overseas as sex slaves. Witness told the inquiry that British girls were being taken to places like Pakistan by the same gangs that once operated in UK. Here's that statement. As these grooming gangs of young English girls seemingly ignored by your Jimmy Savile government over there in the UK, right? Right. UK, you can't report grooming gangs because it's, quote, Islamophobic, they're saying. So any excuse in the world, right, to not hold the child abusers accountable. This guy again, Dr. Evil. What's up with this dude? We reported on this guy yesterday, but still, Dr. Stephen Victor. He's mentioned 567 times in Epstein. This guy's up to no freaking good, man. So we need to look further into Stephen Victor, Dr. Evil. He's also referred to as Dr. Evil 43 times. I'm going to take a look at that character. Okay, we're at the 2-hour mark. We still have a lot more news to get to. I think that's about all the Epstein news for today. Again, next, we'll keep reporting as it keeps coming out here now. And again, next, so a week from today, we'll have William Ramsey on, author, researcher, and interviewer. And we'll take a deep dive. But as far as I can tell, the hits keep on coming. So we'll keep on reporting to you here now. But more about, now moving on to geopolitical news. We're still, here's J.D. Vance. When asked about Greenland, oh yeah, they're building the American Technate. Make no mistake about it.
Well, look, it's very early in the Greenland talks. I know that we've been working quite a bit on this over the last few weeks, but it's just very simple. Greenland is very important to the national security of the United States of America. I do think that some of our allies have underinvested in Arctic security, and if we're going to invest in Arctic security, if we're going to basically pay a lot of money and be on the hook for protecting this massive landmass, I think it's only reasonable for the United States to get some benefit out of that, and that's going to be the focus of the negotiations.
I remember now, this was a snapshot into the protection racket, racketeering run by the U.S. government. He just told you right there. Department of War is putting out crazy memes today. Looks like old Baron Trump and his fraternity went over to the Department of War, and their meme department, this is from the Department of War. Looks like a kid made it, right? Press start for orbital dominance, space superiority. It's from the Department of War official account. And then you look, Department of War CTO account here. And oh yeah, by the way, nobody cares, but they bragged there. Yes, the Department of War has directed energy weapons. Yes, we are scaling them. And then these, scaling hypersonics for victory. Meme of the day from the Department of War here. Enduring deterrence. I don't know. Do we have hypersonics that can match up with Russia's Orezhnik? And does it even matter? Those things allegedly can't be defended against. So a non-nuclear, very destructive option here now with no radiation, but still puts off that same type of blast as a alleged atomic bomb. These hypersonic missile systems. We'll see. We haven't, to my knowledge, we haven't seen America launch a hypersonic missile. So it'll be interesting to see what they have. More from the Department of War. Border closed, control restored, war.gov/join the fight. Like, seriously? Fully militarized southern border there. Department of War on the border, 9 months, 0 crossings. The southern border is secure. Again, is it to keep them out or to keep us in? A combination of both, it seems. The War Department to partner with OpenAI to integrate ChatGPT into GeneralAI.mil. That's a report out of Fox. This is not good. This is not good. This is your technocracy. Pete Hegseth, I'm not going to play the video, but he's on the Arsenal of Freedom tour, going around. He's literally a salesman for arms, a war criminal right here, your Secretary of War. And so now he's a salesman for the military-industrial complex. I'm glad they will profiteer handsomely off of stacking bodies around the world for our own safety, of course. But he's running around. Our allies want America's most lethal weapons, American weapons. He's running around being a salesman for munitions, for private munitions makers. That's your Secretary of War, Pete Hegseth, actor man, Fox News man. Now, weapons of death salesman. EU's in bad shape, as we are in America as well here. Macron said EU has 3 years before it becomes irrelevant. Probably already irrelevant. We risk being swept aside by the United States and China, he said. I guess his eye cleared up because he took off the aviators. America's building empire, China's building empire, Europe's building regulations. The EU is a geopolitical has-been. Not wrong. He's not wrong, is he? Europe's about to ban kids from social media. France is in. UK, Portugal, Denmark, Greece, Norway, Poland, Austria, Ireland, Netherlands, all weighing in. And so we're trying to export our social media to the EU to social engineer their society with our mind control programs known as social media here, coming out of America. And so EU is looking to ban kids from social media use. Trump's response to this is to hit them with tariffs. So you either take our social engineering mind control program or we will tariff you, you see. Telegram founder Pavel Durov, he says Russia is restricting access to Telegram in an attempt to force its citizens to switch to a state-controlled app built for surveillance and political censorship. 8 years ago, Iran tried the same strategy and failed. It banned Telegram on made-up pretexts, trying to force people onto a state-run alternative. Despite the ban, most Iranians still use Telegram, bypassing censorship, and prefer it to surveillance apps. Restricting citizens' freedom is never the right answer. Telegram stands for freedom of speech and privacy, no matter the pressure, he said. I don't believe him, but that's what he said. Continuing here, Foreign Minister out of Russia, Lavrov, he says again here now, says the Epstein files expose what he calls the true face of the collective West, labeling it as pure Satanism. Yeah, can't argue with that, honestly, but, you know, Russia's not that much better, are they? All part of a lockstep public health policy we just saw during the bat times. In 2014, email exchange between Epstein and Melania Spinella, executive assistant to Apollo Global Management, co-founder Leon Black. Epstein invites senior aardvark figures to his island, including Isaac Herzog, now Aardvark Land's president, and former Prime Minister Edmund Brock, and Defense Minister. Another email shows Herzog included in the email chain. And so here it is to protect the victims. I mean, protect the perpetrators, protect the aardvarks. So, yeah, there you go. Glad they blacked out those names. Ethiopia hosting secret camp funded by UAE. UAE is funding the arming, funding, fomenting the genocide there in Sudan. As we continue to report here, the United Arab Emirates funded the construction of a covert facility to train thousands of fighters for Sudan's rapid support forces, carrying out a genocide there in Sudan, funded by the UAE. That's a report out of Reuters. Oh, we whacked another of these narco trafficking boats. Southcom did. America did. America. Fighting the war on drugs. You see, through extrajudicial assassinations. Here's another one. Southcom put this out yesterday, late yesterday. They say yesterday, at the direction of Southcom, Joint Task Force Southern Spear conducted a lethal kinetic strike on a vessel operated by designated terrorist organizations. Intelligence confirmed the vessel was transiting along known narco trafficking routes in the Eastern Pacific and was engaged in narco trafficking operations. 2 narco terrorists were killed and 1 survived the strike. I don't know how you survived this, but here's the video of the extrajudicial assassinations carried out by your U.S. military, Southcom. So there you go. We don't know anything but this drone footage of them doing the assassination, and so I guess that's good enough for me. And you see the idiot comment. These aren't even real people, are they? They're just trolls. I don't know. Like, thank you, boom, good job, yeah. How about the idea that you're trusting the government's claims that these are bad guys, narco traffickers? Well, they may very well be, but they still deserve a trial to prove they're guilty, or you're not American. You're just a damn terrorist, the same as these alleged criminals. You're the same. You're the same. If you don't afford them due process, you're the same as they are. Where are we at here? Colombian President Petro says he survived an assassination attempt Monday night, last night, right, while traveling by helicopter, according to AFP. Trump says he might send second carrier to strike Iran if talks fail, according to Axios. I think they've already moved into position there. They're moving into position as we speak here. President Trump told Aardvark Channel 12, I love how our president is on Aardvark Channel 12, America First, that if Iran can't reach an agreement with the United States, he would be forced to carry out very harsh action and considering sending another aircraft carrier to the region. Lethality at its best. Here's propaganda from your Department of War as the war drums are beating.
Beyond the horizon, a predator emerges. Silent, observant, lethal. An apex hunter of its domain. It occupies space normally denied by nature, holding still like lightning trapped between cloud and earth, waiting to be released. Its senses are extraordinary, perceiving in every direction at once. Sight, sound, heat, and movement merge into a single instinct. When the moment comes, it does not announce itself. The prey never hears the wings. By the time danger is understood, the hunt is already over.
Yeah, so that's pretty intimidating war propaganda video from your Department of War there. Department of War restructures foreign military sales, prioritizing speed, efficiency. This is Pete Hegseth on the Arsenal of Freedom tour, essentially a salesman for the military-industrial complex. There you go. Little Marco Rubio, Secretary of State, deliberately lies about Cuba talks to push for regime change, according to a report out of Dropsite News. Little Marco has falsely informed President Trump that high-level negotiations are taking place between Washington and Havana, despite no such talks existing, Dropsite News reported. According to the report, Rubio has fed this information to Trump as part of his ambitious play to overthrow the Cuban government, as there's a blockade blocking medicine, food, fuel from getting to Cuba right now. 5 Cuban and U.S. officials told Dropsite News that there are and have been no negotiations involving high-level officials between Havana and Washington. He says that because that's what Marco is telling him, that's why Trump's acting the way he is toward Cuba, because he's listening to little Marco. Venezuela, this is exciting news, right? So we knew it was to bring democracy to Venezuela, to get that dirty narco trafficker Maduro. Turns out it was about the oil, which we knew the entire time. Where are we at here? Yeah, so the Venezuelan oil that America stole or has cleared the path, taken off essentially Venezuelan sanctions against aardvark land. They weren't dealing with them. Venezuela ships its first crude oil cargo to aardvark land in years after U.S. military operation that removed Maduro and took over the country's oil exports. According to Bloomberg, aardvark land is set to receive Venezuelan crude for the first time since 2020, with a cargo reportedly headed to Haifa's Brazen Group after oil exports were reopened under U.S. control following the abduction of Maduro. The shipment reflects a sharp pivot in which Venezuelan oil tankers are now routed through U.S.-approved intermediaries, allowing aardvark land to secure new energy supplies as Washington tightens its grip over the country's oil sector. So good to hear that report, I'm sure. Trump administration talked about seizing more Iranian oil tankers to squeeze Tehran, but backed off over fears Iran would retaliate, spike oil prices, and treat it as an act of war. Iran could respond by seizing allied tankers or mining the Strait of Hormuz, where about 25% of the world's oil supply flows through. Officials feared that retaliation by Iran would drive up world oil prices. Over 20 Iranian-linked ships are already sanctioned and potential targets, according to this report by the Wall Street Journal. U.S. to send 200 troops to Nigeria to train. I got an alarm going off in there in the background, excuse me. U.S. to send 200 troops to Nigeria to train its military, not fight, against Islamist militants, shortly after Trump accused Nigeria of allowing killing of Christians and threatened intervention. So we have boots on the ground in Nigeria, according to the Wall Street Journal. We're going to have boots on the ground there to fight the radical Muslims puppeteered by Western intelligence. So we do appreciate that. Okay, where are we at? Covered that. Yeah, Trump told Aardvark Land, Channel 12, Iran will not possess nuclear weapons or ballistic missiles. Bibi's coming to America. Bibi's coming to him. He's probably here by now. Bibi said, this is my 7th visit, and I believe this is in, this is in his language. And it's funny, all these guys are wearing face masks. I don't know, maybe there's bat problems still, but maybe it's to hide their identity.
דבר שלא היה כמוהו בתולדותינו. בנסיעה הזאת אנחנו נדון.
So that's in his language. Translated in English, it says he was saying there, this is my 7th visit to meet with Donald Trump since his 2nd term, not including his unforgettable visit to Aardvarkland and speech in the Knesset. Oh, we won't forget. This reflects the exceptional closeness between Aardvarkland and the United States, unlike anything in our history. On this trip, we will discuss Gaza, the region, and above all, the negotiations with Iran. I will present our views on the key principles important not only for Aardvarkland, but for peace and security in the region. Like a backhanded threat, racketeering from Bibi. Aardvarkland raids southern Syria, abducts civilians, and destroys farmland. Aardvarkland forces carried out raids in southern Syria this week, detaining civilians and spraying farmland with unknown chemicals. There's a bunch of claims of chemical attacks now all over the region, in Syria, in Lebanon, in the West Bank, in Gaza, carrying out unknown chemical attacks. Causing extensive damage to crops and livestock. Syrian officials said 3 young men collecting firewood and a child herding livestock were briefly abducted before being released hours later. The incidents reflect a continuing pattern of Aardvarkland raids, abductions, and land seizures in the region. We reported on, they did have a funeral here now for that 4-year-old Ali Jabir and his father Hassan Jabir. We reported on yesterday that Aardvark's whacked in Lebanon. Here's that funeral procession. Netanyahu discuss military operations on Iran with Trump. Bibi plans to raise potential military options against Iran while meeting with Trump during his visit to Washington, according to CNN. One source said Aardvarkland remains doubtful that the emerging talks between Washington and Tehran will be successful. You know what could help is if they whack the negotiators. That always helps. That's been a trending theme of Aardvarkland. But is pushing to safeguard its interests and maintain freedom of military action under any future agreement. Netanyahu is expected to share new intelligence with Trump regarding Iran's military capabilities, one source said. So he's going to feed Trump a bunch more lies here, as per usual, and Trump will eat it up. And so we'll probably be attacking Iran very soon here now. Washington's Gaza master plan, a mere PowerPoint presentation. Remember this? The peace board and Jared Kushner's PowerPoint presentation. We have a master plan. There is no plan B, remarked Jared Kushner. We played it here. So it's a PowerPoint is the peace plan, 20-point peace plan there. Even Aardvarkland doesn't believe that it will happen. The peace board and the smart city, the freedom city there. Remember all of that. More con jobs, actually, is what it amounts to by Jared Kushner, Trump, and the whole crew there, Witkoff, and the whole rest of the crew there. Yeah, we covered it. They outlined a AI smart city model, and yeah, serious doubts now. But hey, New Gaza is a lab rat colony. Investigation unmasked U.S.-made bombs made nearly 3,000 Palestinians evaporate, literally vaporized them, right? An Al Jazeera Arabic investigation has documented the disappearance of 2,842 Palestinians in Gaza whose bodies left no recoverable remains, a phenomenon attributed to Aardvark Land's use of high temperature thermal and thermobaric weapons supplied by the United States Civil Defense Team say victims were effectively erased at strike sites, leaving behind only blood traces or small fragments. After bombs capable of generating temperatures above 3,500 degrees Celsius were used during attacks that began in October of 2023. According to the investigation, Gaza's civil defense compiled the figure through site-by-site forensic accounting, comparing the number of people known to be inside targeted buildings with the bodies recovered. When no remains were found after exhaustive searches, the missing were classified as being vaporized. Military experts cited by Al Jazeera said weapons such as the US-made MK-84 or Blue 109 bunker buster and GBU-39 glide bomb can incinerate human tissue in seconds through extreme heat, pressure, and oxidation, particularly in enclosed spaces. Legal experts told Al Jazeera that the use of such indiscriminate weapons implicates not only Aardvark Land, but also the Western suppliers of these weapons, arguing that continued arms transfers amount to complicity in war crimes. Despite provisional measures issued by the International Criminal Court of Justice and an arrest warrant from the International Criminal Court against Bibi Netanyahu, the genocide continues there. U.S. deploys THAAD missile defense system to Jordan. And so this is the buildup there of the Navy. And again, Iran should have never built their country around all of our military bases. The United States has fully deployed a THAAD terminal high altitude area defense battery in Jordan, according to satellite imagery here now. So they've got, we're setting up military bases there ready to have a full-on war with Iran. Aardvark banker, finance minister Smotrich describes highly coordinated Aardvark strike on Iranian targets, saying 13 missiles were launched simultaneously to prevent targets from escaping. The attack was timed at 2 a.m. with public sirens set to match because we couldn't tell the public. He says intelligence showed senior Iranian officials, 3 generals fled their apartments after a warning, forcing a last-minute change. They changed the attack plan while the planes were in the air. The strike was delayed to 3 a.m., but he claims they managed to get those 10 and another 4. Smotrich concludes by praising Aardvark Land's military capability, saying there's no army in the world that has the capability to close intelligence and fire like that. Yeah, it's a full-on attack there, right? Aardvarkland drone drops stun grenade toward a shepherd on the outskirts of Idara, southern Lebanon, injuring him with shrapnel in the thigh and wounding more than 30 sheep from his flock. So they're taking out the agriculture, the livestock, the people, the whole thing. Well, Bibi is above it all, apparently, because here's his flight tracker flying right through where he should have been pulled over and arrested. Despite arrest warrants issued by The Hague against Netanyahu, his plane flew to America over Greece, Italy, and France. These are all members of the court. So right through here, theoretically, they should have pulled him over and arrested him and served that international arrest warrant on his butt. But they didn't. Can't mess with Shadow President of America now, can you? EU there. International rules-based order, right? Screaming it at us. Well, we give Bibi a pass, though, right? Because he's going to see Trump to cook up, World War III plans. The genocide continues. From earlier today, Aardvarkland has killed at least 5 Palestinians and injured 13 others. Today, beyond the so-called yellow line for going across, and I did pull it up today because I can never find it. Again, for reference, the infamous yellow line there. The infamous yellow line. And they're continually setting up around here with machine gun nests. They're shooting them from here, from everywhere, right? From everywhere. And so, yeah, we saw you, or they just say you were by the yellow line. Whether you were or not, it don't matter. You know what I mean? They're whacking you. And so you go across that yellow line, you're whacked. You stay with it behind the yellow line, you're whacked. But that's a good excuse, allegedly. So this report says this guy, we've been reporting on this, the Las Vegas Reedley linked bioweapons labs run by Chinese. Turns out the property manager was Aardvark, and he's Ori Solomon, this character, right? Turns out he subsequently escaped to Aardvarkland now. So he will not be facing American justice here for what looks to be some type of, chemical weapons, biological weapons, illegal program going on here working with the Chinese in America. I'm glad our greatest ally took him in under their wing to reform him. This whole falling out has gone on. Where are we at here? This whole falling out, let's play a little bit of this. The White House's Religious Liberty Commission had a big falling out between the Catholics and the Zionists, it appears. And all these Christian Zionist fake Catholics are all, yep, you guessed it, jumping on this. So here she is, Carrie Prejean Bowler, says that she's a Catholic and is not playing that Zionism. All these Christian Zionists got all upset and they've kicked her off the board. They're trying to shame her as anti-Septic because she doesn't follow the Christian Zionist ideology. She's a Catholic. Here she is. Kicked off the Religious Liberty Commission for being anti-Septic, for being Catholic, essentially. Her, right there. And we have video of it. I'll post a link. Weaponized News Substack. What else more about that? She says more from that panel, the Religious Liberty Commission. She said, since we've mentioned Aardvarkland a total of 17 times, are you willing to condemn what Aardvarkland has done in Gaza? They're not, though, you see. Christian Zionists fully in support of genocide on the White House Religious Liberty Commission Council.
One last follow-up. Since we've mentioned Israel a total of 17 times, are you willing to condemn what Israel has done in Gaza?
No, because I unilaterally reject that it's not a genocide. The only genocide ever carried out was on October 7th when Hamas tried killing every man, woman, and child they could possibly find. Hang on, let me respond.
70,000 innocent civilians killed?
Let me respond. So first of all,
you won't condemn that?
And Carrie,
just on the record.
He's already, excuse me, as chair of the committee.
I think it's important we have this discussion.
I agree. I'm happy to answer.
And Carrie,
I think we'd be great friends.
Yeah, I'm happy to answer.
Carrie, we have had the discussion. Good questions, good answers. This is a commission on religious liberty. If there's another commission on this issue,
I don't know why we're talking about a foreign country.
Well, to be fair, you brought it up.
Okay.
You did.
At no point in my testimony did I mention Israel. I was very clear about American Jewry.
You did.
I did not mention Israel.
Okay. We'll talk about this later.
But that's objectively not true. I did not mention Israel.
This could be another discussion.
They even lie about what they're saying when you're right there in the freaking meeting with them. All right, so she's been shamed, demonized, kicked off there for being Catholic, essentially. We didn't get a chance. I don't think we got a chance to play this one, or maybe we played part of it, but we shall play it all today. Patriot NFL football team owner Robert Kraft, he's a big Zionist. He's dedicated his resources through the Blue Square Alliance charity. He built a command center inside the Patriot Stadium that's tracking hate speech online, critical of aardvarks in real time. Here's a report from ZBS News. The intelligence they gather is sent to university administrators. So there you go, policing the internet for genocide. They're the good guys, you see.
Inside the Patriot Stadium, a command center of stats tracking hate speech online. It shows where it's coming from, the time of day, and how it's trending, especially among younger people.
We saw that not only is hate and anti-Semitism growing across the country, it's disproportionately growing on college campuses and in high schools.
Which is part of the reason Kraft says he partnered with the United Negro College Fund and the Jewish organization Hillel International to host unity dinners throughout the country.
So let's get to it.
Baruch College students Aiden Herzlinger and Akish L. are among the more than 450 students who've attended at least one of the dinners. What do you talk about at these dinners?
The dinners are about finding commonalities between the Black community and the Jewish community. So we really talk about anything and everything. It's not just about politics and opinions, it's about treating each other as humans.
We mainly talked about our families, why we have communities, and how our communities are similar more than different.
Why Jewish students with Black students?
Because historically we had that connection. It's a connection that's gotten a lot done, and I think we can continue to get a lot done if we come together.
And when you heard those students talk about the history of Blacks and Jews working together, consider this. In June of 1964, 3 college students fighting for civil rights in Mississippi were murdered by the Ku Klux Klan with law enforcement. Those activists were James Chaney, Andrew Goodman, and Michael Schwerner. Chaney, a Black man, Goodman and Schwerner, Jewish. Right now, we know those bonds have been challenged by a war in which more than 1,200 people have been killed in Israel and over 70,000 in Gaza. But you guys, overwhelmingly, his message he's saying is we shouldn't tolerate it for anyone. You know, whether you're Jewish, whether you're Black, whether you're Latino, whether you're Asian, it shouldn't matter. People should be standing up to ignorance and hate.
Right, and I love that he's using the Super Bowl, which is one of the biggest platforms in the world, to share.
Well, yeah, we love it. They're still doing genocide there. And now it's a crime to be a Catholic and to be against genocide, according to the twisted logic of these maniacs. Aardvark land settlers target Palestinian water station, cutting off access to 100,000 residents. That seems to be a trend we're noticing, the poisoning of the well by the aardvarks. A group of aardvark settlers attacked the main water well there in the West Bank, one of the main water wells, Saturday evening, assaulting employees and vandalizing the facility. WAFA News reports that the incident involved more than 15 aardvark settlers, the ultra-Zionists, right? And aardvark forces later raided the site with several military vehicles. The assault forced the Jerusalem Water undertaking to halt water pumping from the wells, cutting off access for over 100,000 residents across 19 communities that rely on the station. Officials warned that the continued attacks threaten water security and risk worsening the humanitarian situation in the area. The Water Authority called for urgent intervention to protect staff and facilities, restore operations, and resume water supply immediately, noting that repeated assaults in recent days have escalated tensions and compromised a critical lifeline for local communities. Final report of the day here. Aardvark land forces kill Palestinian child in West Bank refugee camp, leave him bleeding as soldiers look on. We do have video of that. I guess we'll just show you a still. Here's a still image of the 14-year-old Palestinian boy laying in the streets bleeding out as soldiers look on. There you go. But he's a terrorist, right? So according to a report out of Haaretz, they left him bleeding on the ground as troops stood nearby. The boy, Jabala, was filmed laying in an alley while soldiers walked around him. I just showed you the still image of that. Fired into the air and blocked attempts by his mother to reach him. Residents say a Palestinian ambulance was prevented from accessing the scene. The Aardvark Land Army said troops from an elite paratroopers unit identified him as a terrorist who posed an immediate threat and were forced to open fire, claiming the wounded boy later received first aid. The videos and testimonies contradict that account, showing Jabala repeatedly attempting to move and gesture for help after collapsing while soldiers remained close by without providing treatment. Family members and camp residents deny the Army's claim, saying the teenager was unarmed and posed no danger when he was shot. Jabala later died, becoming one of at least 55 Palestinian miners killed by Aardvark land forces in the occupied West Bank in 2025, and one of dozens whose bodies were being held by Aardvark land. His family says the army has refused to return his body for burial, leaving them clinging to hope that he may still be alive. They hurt us twice, his father told Haaretz, when they kill him, and now when they're holding the body. And so they're cruelty maxing and evil maxing there, as per usual, out of Aardvark land. And with that, we're going to wrap up and keep praying for peace there with Iran. I'm going to wrap up this broadcast on this Tuesday. Let's take a look at the Odysee quickly, if we have any chat going there. A few in the chat in the Odysee. John, Highland, Clyde Dog, WW. Let's see. Really, they're saying I look like an aardvark? Really? That's a troll, really. We've done a thorough job of must be new to Weaponized News here. Let's see. Yeah, good comments. Lutnick, typical aardvark scheming liar. The UN and WF want to eliminate all age of consent laws. I wonder who controls those groups. Perhaps the same, perhaps the same as Lutnick. Yeah. Sounds plausible. They might be referring to human flesh as jerky. Yeah. A lot of coded dark language there. Yeah, the silkworm missiles, specifically for naval applications. I would not want to be on that carrier. When they say Hitler said the aardvarks would continue to live in host nations and would use aardvark land to avoid extradition for their crime. Indeed, it's like an aardvark sanctuary for criminals. We're told all day by the feds about all the criminal illegal aliens entering America and doing all these crimes. It's bad, but a bunch of aardvarks commit crimes here. That one child molester, remember? He was working. He got busted in Vegas too, didn't he? They busted him trying to solicit a minor online. He fled to aardvark land. Mum's the word. Don't be a Catholic, right? So, yeah, it's a great base there. A great base for them to flee to when they're caught doing their crimes around the world. Thank you very much for tuning in on the Odysee, the X, Kick, Facebook, Twitch, Rumble, and YouTube. Thank you everybody for tuning in on this Tuesday. Every nation occupied by Nazi Germany closed down all aardvark religious institutions in each, replaced in total by Zionist organizations pretending to be aardvarkian. There you go. Well, at least they pretend. All right. A-Dub. Yeah, thank you. A-Dub's representing with the holograph stickers. Thank you very much, A-Dub. And put it up right for you here. These are nice holograph stickers. And Pride Month's coming up in June? So you can sport that, right? With the rainbow. Just kidding, just kidding. And with that, thank you everybody for tuning in on this Tuesday edition. As always, everybody do your own research, peace, love, and freedom. Speak out and take action. Have a great rest of your Tuesday evening, and we'll be back here on Wednesday for more Weaponized News.